zebra and impala. It's actually a lovely temperature right now. The temperature's dropped slightly. There's something over there. Oh, and buffalo. Fantastic. I was about to say, I'm sure I can smell buffalo. There's a sign of buffalo back there, a lot of dung and that. And there's a great herd of buffalo moving through this area with the zebra. And again, I think it's probably because of a bit of green vegetation around here. This was a nice surprise. Let me just move forward slightly for us. I think we might get a better view through there. And of the zebra. It's really wonderful to see different species. I mean, we've been lucky just along this road now. We saw a kudu earlier while you were watching the lions. We saw kudu, we saw the waterbuck, saw zebra, buffalo, impala. There's a lot of different general game in this area, which is great. It's wonderful to see these different species around. You see those zebra really searching for that green grass that I spoke about. Now, it looks like a reasonably large herd of buffalo. They've spread out quite a bit. There's quite a few up ahead too. So all these animals enjoying whatever little vegetation they can find. And there we go, you can see the horns of that buffalo. Any guesses quickly on what you think, male or female? Hope you're all shouting at your computer screens, but that is a female. You can see very thin boss, or almost no boss at all. But there's a horn structure there, just not nearly as thick as the males. You can see that clearly. And then if we go off to the right a little bit, just down there, look at that thick boss on that male. See, very, very different. Thanks, Brian. See, I wonder, their general direction seems to be towards Buffelshoek Dam. They are still quite a distance away from there, and so are we. But we are still going to be heading in that direction to see if there's anything that's come down to drink. And I would assume that these buffalo at some point may wander down there, because it is a nice prominent water source in this area at the moment. So a bit later they could possibly head down, go for a drink and move off again. Or they may even have drunk earlier today and they're still moving around feeding. It's lovely just listening, and I don't know if you can hear very clearly, but you just hear the leaves and the branches moving as these animals are feeding around us. Every now and then a little snort from a buffalo. Well, I think let's leave this herd, let them continue feeding. And while we do that, we're going to continue making our way towards Buffelshoek Dam, see what's around there. It's probably a bit cooler closer to the water. Still the beautiful zebra in the road ahead of us. And this afternoon light, you know, we spoke about it this morning in photography, and I really enjoy photography. And these golden hours, the morning and the afternoons, especially afternoons, this is perfect for photographing animals. You just get such beautiful natural light on them. You really don't need to adjust your camera or worry about changing settings too much on your camera for photographs like this. While we carry on to Buffelshoek Dam, Taylor's got another cat for you. I can't believe it.
Now you're just going to see Xiluva disappearing into the distance. She's moving further and further off the road, but we're going to see if we can get a gap. I'm going to keep rolling backwards, and perhaps we will see her again. Let's just see where she's gone. Can you still see her, VM? I've lost her now. She's gone to the termite mound. You can see her there. Let's see where she's going to go. Okay, she's going to have a little rest over there. Unfortunately, this is the best view that we can get you. And she is probably about 80 meters or so, maybe not quite 80 meters, but almost that off the road now. And unfortunately, we don't have traversing rights in Buffelshoek. So she's just sitting. I think the sun was getting to her. So she's changing position. You can even see that she is panting quite quickly. Now, I've never seen this leopardess before. She looks quite beautiful, though I haven't really had a great look at her yet. But I believe she is an absolute stunner and an older girl, which is quite nice. I think around the same age as Karula, about 11, born in 2005. So that's quite nice. Now, because I'm new and I'm still learning about the history of all the different cats in the northern Sabi Sand, maybe you could help me out. I have a notebook which I write the sort of bloodlines, the family trees of all the different cats, and I don't know anything about Xiluva besides her age. So maybe you could tell me who her mother is. Perhaps you could tell me if she's had any cubs and who they are, or if she's been mating with anybody recently. And you can do that by either hashtagging Safari Life, or you could even send us an email at questions@WildEarth.TV, and I would really, really appreciate if you could give me a little bit of a hand here. Now, I know it's quite obstructed, but maybe she decides to get up and move around again. It seems to be a tricky position even for the rangers that are able to drive on Buffelshoek. It's quite dense where she is laying, and it's making it very difficult to get a decent view. You can see all those bush willows and terminalias. Wonderful. It's going to be very, very tricky, unfortunately, to have a look at this leopard. Oh. Thanks, Ellen. Sorry, Ellen Fowler just let me know that Karula was actually born in 2004. No problem, just a year off. She's a little bit younger. I just want to move forward slightly. There's just lots and lots of vehicles coming in and out of this sighting. Now, hopefully we'll be able to get a better view. Let's check a little bit further ahead if we can perhaps get another glimpse of her. Oh, let me just move off the road completely, as I think this vehicle is going exactly the same way that we are going. So let's let them go past us, and then we will carry on. We will reverse, and we will try and see if we can get another look at that leopardess. Right, let's reverse. Hello. And let's try this again. Let's see if we can maybe get a view from up here. I'm just going to look over my shoulder to see if I can spot a gap. But it is quite difficult. Right, let's go back slowly. I'm going to have another little look here. Liam, where were we? Were we up a bit further? It's proving very tricky. Can you see her through there? It's very, very thick, the angle that she is sitting on that termite mound. Liam, where exactly were we? Were we here? Just trying to find the same spot. It's very, very difficult, I'm afraid, to try and get the exact angle as where she was sitting. Let's see. Here you can get a little glimpse of her. Now, we have been so spoilt over the last few weeks to always have the best sightings of the different animals, the leopards, the lions. We've always had a clear view. But it seems as though luck is just not on our side. But it's a small price to pay. Everybody's repositioning. I think we're actually going to have to leave this sighting. It's getting very, very busy from a variety. Oh my goodness. Right. Unfortunately, I think we're going to have to call it quits with that sighting. It's just too difficult for us to keep a view. There's too many vehicles moving around and we keep getting our picture cut off. So we'll try again a little bit later. Let's carry on though. And thanks so much, James Richard, who said that this is Nkanyeni, another leopardess I haven't seen. It's her sister. And apparently Xiluva has been seen mating with Mvula. So thank you very much for all that information. I'm going to have to jot that down into my trusty notebook, which is full of all sorts of secrets and random things. And I apologize that that sighting of Xiluva was cut so short. It's very, very difficult to try and get a view. But like I said, I'll keep listening out to perhaps see if anybody gives an update on her movements. Maybe she comes back to her original position, which will be much easier. But that's okay. We'll just have to try and find something else in the meantime. And I'm so happy to say that it is finally cooling down and it feels amazing. It is lovely, the wind on my skin through my lovely cotton shirt. It's cooling us both, Liam and I, down very nicely. And I think we're going to have a spectacular sunset tonight. There's a few clouds forming in the distance, but not too many. And I think they will light up with different shades of purples and blues and reds and oranges and all those fantastic colors. But we will carry on. Maybe what we can even go and do, VM, do you want to go and look for Karula?
Yes.
VM says yebo, which means yes, in a local South African word. We South Africans are strange creatures. We don't use any words that anybody else uses in the rest of the world. So I think we'll do that. We'll go down towards where Jamie had Karula last, and perhaps in the last 24 hours she has made a kill, and maybe the cubs will be around. I expect it's not going to be easy though. She never makes it easy unless you just stumble across her, but it is quite difficult to track Karula. I've watched how she zigzags in and out of drainages, confusing even the best of trackers. Right, let's carry on through here and see what else is lurking in the bushes. Doesn't seem like too much. I think what we might actually even go and do is check one or two watering holes now that the sun is about to drop as well. Perhaps we'll get a whole new flush of animals coming through. So maybe we will go and have a look at the dam cam at the pan where the dam is, at Gowrie Dam, and have a little look around there. Oh, hello, Impala. No, every single time I say hello to them. Now, the impala never seem to want to stand still. Every time I say hello to them, they look at me and they race off. Oh, she's looking a little bit on the thin side, unfortunately. That looks a little bit better. Now, Heidi, you were wondering, what leopards haven't I seen? Oh my goodness, there's so many. I'm absolutely itching to see, of course, Nkanyeni. I've only heard good things about her. I'd love to see Quarantine and, of course, the Anderson male, so I can compare him and Mbavala for myself and see who is actually actually the biggest, because I don't know if anybody out of Brent, out of Jamie, out of James, and perhaps even out of Byron, I don't think any of them have actually seen Mbavala, possibly just photos. Now, I've seen Mbavala for a few times, so I'll be able to put the myth as to who is the biggest of the two, because photos really don't do it justice. But we'll be fair, we'll make sure when I see the Anderson, he has to have a full belly so he can look as big as he's possibly could be. Who else haven't I seen? There's so many. I haven't seen Thandi yet. I haven't seen Thandi and her little cubs. I've just obviously seen lots of photos and lots of footage of her in the past few weeks. We was very lucky. And I think that's it. I'm probably missing quite a few. I wouldn't put that past my goldfish memory that I have occasionally. It comes through. But those are the leopards that I'm most excited to see, and I'm glad to have had a quick little snippet of I've gotten all tongue-tied now, Xiluva, and hopefully we'll be able to get a sighting of her at some point too. Now, I'm not sure where the closest water is. I think it is Tumbuti Dam in Buffelshoek, so I don't know if she's going to come across and drink on our side on Djuma. I think she's going to stay, unfortunately, put on Buffelshoek's traverse. Oh, and of course we've got another roadblock from the elephants. What a surprise. And I say that with great sarcasm, of course, because that seems to be what we are seeing over the last few weeks, is just plenty of trees being pushed over by the elephants. But it's all for good use. They're eating them at least. They're not just pushing them over for fun. They're actually making use of them. What else have we got going on here? Oh, look at this lovely tree wisteria that we've got over here. Isn't it beautiful? It's quite a tall one. See, it's nice to see that it hasn't been attacked by the elephants and dwarfed. Now, I'm wondering when we're going to start to see the beautiful purple flowers that this tree has to bear. I know a few weeks ago, just before I went on my vacation, we found a tree wisteria with lovely purple flowers. And if you're wondering why on earth does this one not have flowers if we have already seen one, it depends on the types of soils that are below and in the soil around the trees, of course. Some of them may be a little bit more nutrient rich than others. Others may be growing in poorer soils. But it's a lovely tree nonetheless. Another tree that I'm quite excited about that has got its flowers at the moment, and maybe we'll try and find one if we go and visit quarantine, is the apple leaves, the Phalaenoptera violaceae. Now, they've also got lovely purple flowers. So perhaps when we make our way towards quarantine to head to where Thandi Karula was last seen, I'll be able to show you that beautiful tree, which is one of my favorite trees. It is quite pretty. It's a good climbing tree as well. Sometimes oh, hang on. Let me put my foot to the pedal. I believe that a few of you have said that there are lots of elephants at the dam camp. Well, let's not waste any time then. I will tell you a little bit more about the tree. But first, let's race on over and see if we can catch those elephants. They've got the whip cracking and getting him straight to work, even though the sun is just about to go down. But let's go and have a look anyway. Racing around here, and of course as we're driving I am keeping my eyes peeled. I still think that's one of the most important things, is if you are going to drive a little bit quicker than normal, you must keep an extra eye out so that you don't get in the way of a zebra or an impala racing across the road. Now, while I make my way towards the Gowrie Dam and have a look what's going on, let's go back to Byron and see how his afternoon is treating him.
Taylor, I'm not up to anything, unfortunately. We haven't seen anything again. We went past Buffelshoek Dam, and it is so dry at the moment. We really didn't see much. There was that hippo that I think you saw earlier, and that was about it. So we have decided to keep cruising through the bush and hoping that we bump into something interesting and exciting. You know, both Taylor and I have said that it's cooled down, started to cool down quite a bit, so we might get some activity, you never know. So let's just have a good look while we're driving. Best time of the day, these afternoons. see there's some cicada bugs calling around us. It's always also a sign of summer. All the cicadas start coming out. See if I can just move this branch out the way. Oh, I don't think. There we go. So Kathy from Tennessee has asked me what my favorite bird is, and Kathy says her favorite is a bateleur. And Kathy, I must agree, the bateleur is a beautiful bird. I love seeing them, but my favorite bird is also an eagle. It's the martial eagle. Oh, it's such an incredible bird, very powerful, very graceful, and I really love them. Love the colors and the markings on the body. So the martial eagle. It's spelled M-A-R-T-I-A-L. Martial, not martial as in martial law, but martial. M-A-R-T-I-A-L. And very, very beautiful bird. If you would like to look it up. Old elephant tracks along the road. They don't look too fresh. Looks like vehicles have driven over them. They're starting to lose a bit of the sun at the moment behind the clouds. What's the time? Yeah, usually this is a nice time to stop for sundowners, and don't know, those of you around the world, if it's that time for you, maybe get yourself a good sundowner, enjoy the afternoon with us. Well, grey go-away bird. Oh, come on. I saw you guys earlier, and I hope you stay there. There we go, some dwarf mongoose. Just off. There we go. Oh, nice. They're quite relaxed out foraging. There's quite a few of them. They're very gregarious, as I mentioned earlier, always in big family groups. But how cute are they? They are beautiful. And they're tiny, tiny little mongoose. The smallest mongoose in Africa. Look at that. Foraging for food. And they'll feed on mostly insects. These little dwarf mongoose mainly feed on insects. There's a few more running around. There's a tree squirrel. There we go. Looks like he's got something to eat. That's the little squirrel. And let's just see more of those dwarf mongoose. It's amazing how quickly they can disappear. Looks like they've just moved off. But what a nice little surprise. Always really wonderful to see these little creatures foraging for food during the day. Let's continue. I was just about, what was it, about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks. I was in the Kalahari with some guests, and there's another mongoose species around there. Well, I say mongoose, it's part of the mongoose family. They are the meerkats or suricate, and they really are fascinating little creatures too. The meerkats, and in one of the areas that we go to, you're actually able to walk with them and follow them. They've been habituated to people, so they're not too skittish, and they allow us to follow them around. You don't touch them or anything, but you can view them from a few meters away, and you watch how these animals, these little creatures, go and look for food and forage and dig up grubs, and something that's really fascinating, the little scorpions. Amazing how they're able to dig down and find these scorpions. Sometimes almost 30 centimeters under the ground. Ah, beautiful giraffe. I'm just going to go this way, hold on. And these meerkats wander around foraging for food and digging up all these creatures. It's incredible to see. Nice giraffe. You can see the hooves of the giraffe very clearly there. Very large hooves. Even-toed ungulate, which means they are herbivores, and they've got and even toes. Obviously, the two toes, the split hoof, and that's an order that they fall under. Just looking at the sunlight that we've got now, and with this giraffe feeding, it's always wonderful to try and get a silhouette picture of a giraffe. I mean, they do stand out quite a bit, and if you're lucky and you get them in an open area with very little vegetation behind them, you can get beautiful silhouettes of a giraffe. So Adrian has asked us a question about how many subspecies of giraffe are there. Now, Adrian, in southern Africa, and where we are, we only have one species. It is known as the southern giraffe. That's this species. But then, when you go to East Africa, there are a number of species there, and I think, I can't remember exactly, and maybe one of our viewers can help me out with this, but I think there's 5 or 6. Altogether. So if anybody is watching and can try and find out, but I think there's 5 or 6 up in East Africa and North Africa. One of the strangest ones is one called an okapi, which looks like a miniature giraffe, but is part of the giraffe family. And then you have Livingston's giraffe, I think Rothschild's, reticulated, what else? Actually can't remember, so we'll have to try and find out. But that's already 4 that I've just named there, and I think there's a few more. So Adrian will try and find out exactly how many subspecies there are within Africa. But southern Africa, it's only the one species, just the southern giraffe. Beautiful pattern. Looks like some parasites have got to this giraffe, and all they do is they eat the hair around the giraffe. It doesn't harm them necessarily, and they don't die from it. I've seen it, and also it's very, very clear on older giraffe. You tend to see this happening a lot. These little blotches of these patches of bare skin where parasites have eaten away at the hair, but it doesn't affect them. Beautiful patterns. Get a lot of ticks around the rump and that. I think what we're going to do is maybe continue along and head towards one of the other dams. Pauline and Cedric in France just asked me what the bird was behind the giraffe. Was it those little oxpeckers? Oh, look at that. Oh, well done, Brian. Look at that. Very, very hot, these little oxpeckers. And they're the birds that sit on the animals and they pick off the ticks. The reason for that is they actually like the blood that obviously the ticks are full of. But these ones are dust bathing. That is wonderful to see. Cleaning the feathers by dust bathing. And these are the red-billed oxpeckers because of that red beak or red bill. The other species we get around here is the yellow-billed, but they are quite rare. And you don't see them very often. That's lovely. Beautiful coloration around that yellow eye and that red beak. So as I said, I think we're going to continue and head towards a waterhole. Another waterhole, treehouse I think it is. Treehouse waterhole. And while we do that, why don't you cross over to Taylor and see what updates she has for you.
We had the most beautiful sighting of about 10 kudu all crossing the open plains, but they've moved off quite quickly now, and we are left with this one beautiful kudu cow who's feeding quite happily on what looks like a very dwarfed apple leaf, which is the tree that I was telling you about a few minutes ago. And isn't she lovely? How she's using that long neck of hers, that tongue, to reach the top leaves, and it's making for a beautiful silhouette as well, those beautiful big ears. Look at that. And you can see the rest of them, and a giraffe in the background as well, having a little feed. There's quite a few different animals out here on quarantine this afternoon. And something that I'm excited for, that I have mentioned, is the birthing season, because I believe that quarantine becomes littered with all sorts of different animals: impala, buffalo, wildebeest, zebra, and of course with all their little ones. Isn't that lovely? This is so spectacular. Look at those big ears, and look how they are able to maneuver their neck around like it's almost a piece of bendable wire. I always find that quite amazing as to how flexible the animals really are. And that is so lovely. Perfect opportunity for a little silhouette photo, and even the backlighting on her is absolutely stunning. Look at that. I love that sort of golden sheen on the outside. Look at the, did you see that giraffe as well, how beautifully lit up it was? And off the kudu goes. Where are you going next? Off into the distance to catch up with the rest of the herd. Of course, she doesn't want to get left too far behind, otherwise she's going to find herself in a bit of trouble. There's another one. They're all just dispersing here. It's like they're descending on the DRC to go and feed on all the lovely trees that have been untouched in there. Except we have a local bushbuck that comes through and eats all our garden. Look at them now. They're loving the apple leaves. That's another dwarfed apple leaf over there that you're looking at. They are thoroughly enjoying them this afternoon. Now, I wouldn't imagine that their leaves would be too tasty. They've got very, very crunchy leaves. It almost sounds like when you do crunch them in your hand, it sort of does sound a bit like somebody biting into an apple. Maybe I'll be able to find another small one that doesn't have kudu attached to it, and I'll be able to let you hear for yourself. Look at that giraffe just in the distance. Now, that marula is in the way. How dare it grow over there? I'm obviously just joking. Isn't that beautiful? Like I said, I think we're going to be in for a real treat with the sunset. It's going to be absolutely spectacular. You can already see that lovely golden light coming through the trees. Hello, kudu. Having a little nibble. And they'll carry on feeding throughout the night. Sometimes they'll have a little rest during the day, but they don't need to have long sleeps like the lions do. And off they go into the distance. But let's quickly go down to the dam. We're not far from there. We're just on quarantine. Let's go have a look and see if there's perhaps anything at the watering hole. Maybe some elephants, maybe a hippo. Now, if you're wondering and you're looking at that kudu, they almost look like camels with that big hump, and I know that Shani was wondering exactly what the function of that hump is. Shani, that's really just a wither like you see in a horse. It doesn't really have too much of a function. It's not like a camel where they store extra fat. It's just really bone, just a wither. Right, I'm going to go a little bit quicker. Let's quickly head round the corner and see what's down at the dam. I wonder if Henry the hippo is around. I miss him. I haven't seen him for a few... When did I last see Henry? I think I saw him yesterday afternoon when he was being harassed. But I feel as though he's become a part of my life and I need to see him at least once a game drive. And I missed him this morning. Maybe he's there this afternoon. Maybe he's going to get out of the water if he is in there. That would be nice. Right, we're almost there. I can see lots and lots of impala, of course. I can't seem to see any elephants. I think I can see a buffalo in the distance, but I'm not sure just yet. There's lots of trees in the way. Oh, and I can't tell you how refreshing this breeze is now. It's now finally cooled down. I don't have to use my fan anymore. I can just use the wind. Ooh, and we've got a warthog. Hello, warthog. Now, don't run away at Jigger's squeaky brakes. There's the warthog. Beautiful female. She's looks like quite an old girl. She's got relatively large tusks, and normally the males have got very, very big tusks. And she's munching away. I'm surprised she's also not down on her knees, nibbling away. It'd be a lot easier, seeing as that grass is so short, and you can see she's quite happy to have the company of the impala around her. And if I was a warthog, I think I would hang around with the impala and the zebra all day long, just because their senses are much better than that of a warthog. I have actually, in fact, snuck up to a warthog. I got within 2 meters of one, which is a little bit silly of me, but it was on a big open area, and I had the wind in my favor and I had the sun in my favor, and this warthog didn't even know I was there. And I just thought, well, it would just be interesting to see what it does. So I went and of course the warthog popped its head up from it as it was eating, and it was on its knees, and stood up and looked in front of it and scanned, and then he turned around and faced me and went, oh my goodness, and got the fright of his life, and he trotted off a little bit. And then I thought, well, I better get out of there in case he decides to change his mind and charge me. So that was quite a nice little experiment, just to test the warthog's senses. Now, I'm sure you saw that little fence in the distance. That's just a fence that goes around the lodge to try and prevent things like leopards and lions and elephants going in there and bulldozing their way through. However, it doesn't stop the antelope. The antelope will jump straight over the top of that. They've got very springy springs to their step, as you've seen with the impala, and then Yala can jump fairly well too. But let's go down and see who else is at the dam. I don't see anyone just yet. Whew. Let's see. No, just some impala by the looks of it. Henry, are you there? I'm having a little look to see if I can see Henry. Yes, let's go say hello to Henry. I miss him lots. I don't think he misses me quite as much as I miss him, though. If only he knew how I really felt about him. Hello, impala. Lots of them around. You can see the little dots of orange. Oh, the flies are really being pests today, trying to go up my nose. Hello, impala. You guys are not running away from me. That's unusual. Look at them. This is completely bizarre. We've only had the impala racing away from us all the time, and these are sort of doing more of a casual stroll away. I feel less offended when they do this. But perhaps that they're just so hungry that they aren't too bothered by us at all. Having a lovely feed. Right. Henry's giving me the death stare. That's not the kind of welcome I expected from you, Henry. Oh, no. Here you go. You can see his eye just creeping up. No, why are you rolling forward, Jigger? Let me just try and get Jigger to sit still. Say, there we go. Have a look at that oxpecker on Henry's back. Oh no, Henry's got a wound of some sort, and now this oxpecker is unfortunately aggravating it. You can see it's trying to peck at that fresh wound to get the blood to stimulate and to ooze out, and that's what the oxpecker is doing. I know we've all said this a few times, but I know there's a few new viewers here. The oxpeckers are great at removing the parasites, which works perfectly for the various species of animals, but unfortunately they can be a bit of a pest. Now, I'm not sure what's gone on Henry's back, but perhaps he was chomped by another hippo bull. Maybe he got into a bit of an argument. A bit difficult to see exactly what's going on. It looks like it's quite a big wound that he's got. Doesn't look particularly too fresh, but maybe the oxpeckers that have been landing on him throughout the day have opened it up for him. But he looks all right. He seems quite happy and content. Hello, Mr. Blacksmith Lapwing, if you are a he. They are also always around the dam. I suspect that they have a nest somewhere nearby. You don't seem too bothered at us, not shouting at us, not shouting at the impala or the hippo. Normally they get quite cranky when anybody is anywhere near their nest, and they make a ridiculous noise and try and mob and dive bomb anything that gets too close. But I'm glad that you seem very happy on this lovely Saturday afternoon. Where's Mrs. Lapwing? I can't see Mrs. Lapwing anywhere. Oh, Henry, that wasn't very nice. You scared Mr. Lapwing away. He saw that big snort that was sort of a bit like a sprinkler coming out of his nose. And now he's gone back to sleep again. You've got lots of mud on you still. And I'm sure it won't be too long before Henry decides to get out of the water and go for something to eat. Now, we're seeing... oh, sorry, my voice decided to do something quite bizarre there. We've seen quite a few watering holes today, and I know Melinda was wondering, are these natural or are they man-made? We've got a combination of both. So this particular one that we were looking at that Henry is in, this one is pumped with water. But if we go down to the little pan in the distance, you see that? That is a natural pan. We don't pump any water in there. That is what's left after the rain that we had. The same thing with Biffle's Hook pan, and I'm pretty sure with a tree house dam and twin dams. Is that also natural? I don't think any of those are pumped down there. There's not very much. They've been constructed, yes, like VM says, but it's just natural water that's falling into them. And of course, the mud wallows are really helpful during the summer months when we do get a bit of rain, because they fill up quite nicely and form like little watering holes themselves. Now, you can see that the wind is picked up quite nice. You can actually see how the water is blowing just on the surface. That's not from Henry. You can see those little ripples there, which is good. Now, I don't see... oh, there's a threatening cloud in the distance. Look at that cumulonimbus cloud slowly building. You see that? There we go. That's a little bit better. Well, that's a very typical cumulonimbus cloud. They start forming vertically, and they get bigger and bigger and sort of get an anvil shape to them. And normally then, when they get big enough, you hear the rumbling of the thunder, and then of course you see the lightning in between the clouds. But I don't think that cloud on its own, unfortunately, is going to bring a bit of a storm, so I think we need more. And from behind us, it looks very clear so far. A bit hazy. A little bit hazy, but not any big clouds like we would want. Isn't that beautiful? I think we need to get back to quarantine. I think we need to have a little look at the sunset. What do you think, Viam? I think it's going to be quite spectacular. So thank you, Henry. It was lovely seeing you again. Oh, I've seen some monkeys, and I think they're going to go for a drink. Let's get a little bit closer. Let's have a little look here. There's a monkey, little vervet monkey. There was a few of them. They're all coming running down now. That's when you know it's hot, when the monkeys are racing towards the water to get a drink. I've decided I'm not going to go onto the dam wall, because I would like to try and show you the sunset this evening. And if I do that, then I'm going to go very far away. Also edging on the side of caution as they approach the watering hole. And I don't think the vervet monkeys appreciate mud as much as the rest of them. And a little hummerkop in the middle of your screen. That's a nice bird to have a look at. Look at the monkeys on the left. They can't decide on a pathway to get to some good water. and Aaron, New Zealand, you got your wish. I believe that you were hoping to see a hammerkorp, the bird that makes some of the largest nests in the world. Well, there you go. And what a great shot that is with the backdrop of some vervet monkeys. Isn't that very nice? Having a quick little drink, the vervies. Not my favorite animal. Oh, look. We've got a hardy-dar, South Africa's most annoying bird, coming down to have a drink as well. Even the annoying ones, I suppose, get a little bit thirsty. Beautiful. Well, it seems as though I don't need to worry about chasing after the sunset this evening. It's like Byron and I think have got a bit of telepathic connection. Let's go have a look at his beautiful African sunset.
I think there might be a bit of a connection there, Taylor. That's right. As you said, you were possibly going to look for the sunset. We came and found it. And look at that. It really is beautiful. Magnificent sunset. And another few minutes, and that's going to disappear behind the Drakensberg mountain range. You might be able to see it, just through there. But it's just really wonderful to sit here, listen to the birds, and watch that sunset. So peaceful and just so beautiful. You can hear that whistle behind us. That was a red-crested koran whistling behind us. A lot of birds giving their last calls of the day as the sun sets. Look, some clouds forming a little bit, nothing too serious, but look at you can actually see the sun rays through there. That's wonderful, really beautiful. And I always say it's nice to have clouds in the sky when you have a sunset, because you get all those wonderful colors and you get to see those rays. You can see it really clearly through there. Look at that. So quiet, so peaceful, just absolutely wonderful. Those colors, it's really starting to get very orange now in the sky, with those sun rays beaming through the clouds. Wow, look at that color. That's very, very beautiful. You can see just starting to dip behind that mountain range, the Drakensberg. You can see it very clearly now, the outline of that mountain, or of those mountains. And there you see the tip of the sun. And that's going to drop very quickly now behind there. We'll see. I think we'll give it till about halfway, and then we'll carry on going and see what else we can find. I've been told that I've got some challenges for our evening drives, and one of them is a chameleon. See if we can find some chameleon in the next few days. And Debbie has just mentioned that she is wondering when we are going to see the first chameleon of the summer. They tend to hibernate in the winter, as reptiles do, and especially because it's so very dry, you don't see many of them. But, you know, we had a bit of rain recently. Maybe we're lucky and we find some chameleons out. Not always easy to spot, but we'll try our best. That is lovely. Wow, fantastic. Let's carry on moving a bit with that sunset in the background. See with the last little bit of light if we can't find anything before we use the spotlight. Oh, elephant, straight ahead. There we go. What a nice surprise. We've got the elephant and the sunset. just see if it's by itself. I doubt it. It looks like a young elephant. Let's just have a look around here. I'm just going to creep a little bit closer. This is quite interesting here. It does appear to be by itself. Oh no, I actually thought I heard some elephant in the distance off to our right. So opposite direction to where this elephant is now. Definitely thought I heard some elephant communication going on there. So Melinda has asked us a question about how long elephants can live. Melinda, on average, elephants out in the wild can live to about 50 or 60 years old, which is very old for these wild animals. Oh, look at that. Really enjoying the branches there. So, Melinda, I hope that answers your question. About 50 to 60 years old. And as I said, that's really old. And the theory is that the elephant would actually live a lot longer if they were able to feed more. But by the time they get to that age, what happens is the elephant actually go through sets of teeth throughout their lifetime. And as they get worn down, new sets grow in place, or a new set grows in place. The thing is, with the elephant, they go through 6 sets. So by the age of about 55, 60, it's their last set. And once that's worn out, they struggle to feed, and they usually die from natural causes, then, just not getting enough food, nutrients, and old age. It's amazing. As they move, they're just constantly feeding. You can imagine, to keep that big bulk going and efficient, they need all the food they can get. They need the nutrients. So they're bulk feeders. They'll feed and feed and feed. And large elephant can feed on up to almost 250 kilograms of food a day. So that's a lot of vegetation. Oh, look at that. That's really spectacular. See him feeding. Watch that trunk constantly moving around, working, breaking branches. They use it for everything. It is incredible. And there's a fork-tailed drongo in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, just behind the elephant. And that's interesting, because what that little bird is possibly doing is, while the elephant is moving around feeding, it's disturbing a lot of insects. And that fork-tailed drongo is waiting so that it may possibly catch a few of these insects that are being disturbed as the elephant moves through. Oh, that's really fantastic. Wasn't that a nice surprise? So we've got a question from Stuff Is So Cool. Again, I'm assuming it's your Twitter handle. And they would like to know if elephants ever step on their trunks. No, I've never seen it happen, and I highly doubt that an elephant will go and step on its trunk. The trunk, even though they can lower it down and touch the ground, when they're actually walking, it doesn't get in between or underneath the feet. So chances of them standing on it are highly unlikely. I've never seen it happen. I've never heard of it happening. So no, I don't think they would. And also, they're very careful. They're always vigilant of where the trunk is, and they use it for feeding while they're walking. So it's always doing something. It's not going to get caught under the feet. That elephant's moved off. I think we're going to do the same. Just going to have a look around and see if we don't see more of them. Like I said, I thought I heard something in the distance. Let's just have a look just before we start getting the spotlight out. There's that big cloud that I heard Taylor speaking about earlier. That cumulonimbus cloud in the distance forming. And that is definitely a rain cloud, but it's a bit too far. We need it closer, and we need more of them. A really lovely afternoon. We got to see all the lions, we got to see elephant, buffalo, leopard. So Yale from Washington has asked us an interesting question about the various trees. There's a little lapwing. It's running, and that's an interesting one. That's a Senegal lapwing. Hang on, there we go. Oh, that's not one you see very often. That's called a Senegal lapwing. Off it goes. That's a nice surprise. I don't think I've ever seen them in this area. There's another one there. There are two. So just getting back. Sorry, I just got a whiff of something. I thought I could smell elephant. I don't see anything just yet. Let's carry on. But getting back to Yale's question on the buffalo thorn. Yale asked, I mentioned earlier how sharp those trees are, the thorns of those trees are, and they can easily draw blood if you touch them or handle them. And Yale asked, are there other trees that have sharp thorns that will, do some damage like that and draw blood? Yes, there are a number of trees, Yale. There's a number of different acacia species. Now, some of the acacia trees we have, so the entire acacia family within southern Africa or within Africa have got thorns, and the different species of them, some of them have got sharp, long, white thorns, and others have got shorter hooked thorns, which are also very, very sharp. So a lot of those, if you get, if you run into them or step on them, they can cause some serious damage, and they can cause a bit of pain. I'm sure I heard an elephant. Perhaps it's hiding under a rock. A lovely cool breeze now we can feel while we're driving. Just checking my spotlight works. Yep. Going to have to get used to the multitasking. I spoke about it last time I was here, shining the spotlight, talking, driving the vehicles. Hopefully I'm a bit better at it this time. While we carry on driving around, why don't we cross over to Taylor and get an update from her and see what she has found.
It seems as though everybody's coming down for one last drink this evening at the Pan. I think we're going to have to reposition again. It looks like the Impala are moving in, the Inyala is moving in, And a couple of guinea fowl that are chasing each other as well on the bottom right-hand side of your screen. They seem to be having a little bit of a domestic. Now, this is the equivalent of a South African chicken, however, much prettier than the normal chicken, but their mannerisms are very much the same. The way that they chase each other around and peck through the leaf litter and scrape with their feet, especially when they get the dung. But I absolutely love those beautiful bright blue heads that they have. And of course, we've got an impala doing its business. Oh, what is that found? A little insect of some sort that guinea fowl was chasing. Not quick enough, I think. That insect perhaps got away. But I'm very impressed at their turning capabilities. That one almost did a 180 right on the spot. And off they go. I wonder if they're going to go around and have a little drink as well. There we go. Favorite thing of a guinea fowl to do is to peck in the elephant dung. And that's normally when we find it being scraped over. Oh, very territorial about that elephant poop. The one on the left is telling the one on the right, you better get moving. And now they're both running away, so nobody won. That was a bit disappointing. Let's see. I think we wonder if Mr. Inyala over there, who's a beautiful specimen, is going to have a drink, or perhaps he's eyeing out those female that you can see in the distance. That could also be what he's doing. He looks like he's got a bit of a limp to him, don't you think? Let's see when he walks. He doesn't look to be seem to be walking quite soundly. Maybe he's had a little run-in with a bigger Inyala bull and is feeling a little bit stiff today. Yes, you can see he doesn't seem 100% sound. Those elephants that we could hear, I think Liam and I both looked at each other and we're certain that we heard some elephants not too far from here. Let's go around and see if we can quickly relocate on them. Before we lose all the light. The sun is disappearing quite quickly this evening, and I'm blind from the presenter light. My eyes have to adjust to the bright light that is now sitting behind me. Oh, we've even got a waterbuck. I haven't seen any waterbuck today. Let's go stealth mode. We're going to roll over to Madam Waterbuck. Please don't run away. Hello. And she looks like she's got quite a stomach on her. Are you pregnant? Look at that big bulging belly. Perhaps there's a young waterbuck inside you and you're on your own. Where's the rest of your friends and family? That's all right, we'll keep you company for a little bit. Trying desperately to get those last of the green grass shoots. Now you can see why we actually really need the rain, so we can get some moisture down to the roots, so it can keep pushing up those beautiful, nutritious blades of grass. You may even be able to hear her eating if you turn your volume up. She's not making as much noise as I was hoping, but she was just trying to listen very quickly. I'm hearing something in the distance. Let's go and investigate. Let's leave the elephants. It sounds like a distress call of something. I don't know where it is, but I'm going to turn my radio on very quickly. Let me find out what's happening with the lions. Can anybody give me an update on the Nkuhumas? Sorry, I don't know why I actually did that, Liam. Confirm they're bumbering in Yari. Is there any opportunity to come and join that sighting? I'm just getting onto Central. Copy, thank you. Just confirm whereabouts. Hold on, everyone. Copy. I'll be there shortly. Right. The lions are making a kill. We could could hear the buffalo distress calling in the distance. We need to get there as soon as we can. So we're going to race on over. So please excuse the way that I'm about to drive, but I know that you want to see this. Now we're a little bit far away, and I need to try and get to this sighting as quick as possible. Let's go back to Byron, and I'm going to try and get to those lions as quick as possible.
That sounds amazing. Taylor's on her way to look for those lions, and hopefully she finds them. That's incredible. Earlier when we were with that, we saw that herd of buffalo, and remember I said they were heading in the direction of Buffelshoek Dam. And the more we drove closer towards the dam, there were so many buffalo spread out over that whole area. So I think it's possibly the lions that were around there, the Nkuhuma pride, maybe those buffalo, which is very interesting. I'm trying to see if I can find any nocturnal wildlife, and especially a chameleon. We've had a lot of requests for chameleons, so let us see. Let's see what we can find. And it's not always easy. So we're just passing some people, but it's not always easy now this time of the evening. We're using the spotlights, but it's not dark enough for us to really see anything. Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello, hi. So what we're trying to do is just wait for it to get a little bit darker and then use the spotlights a bit, and we'll see if we can't find something. Getting there slowly but surely. Like I said, time for the multitasking to come out. Welcome to Gracie, who's aged 9, and Gracie said thank you to the new guy. Thank you, Gracie. It's lovely to be here. My name's Byron. Lovely to meet you. I haven't seen the baby elephant yet. I think it was Taylor saw it yesterday, but I haven't seen it yet. But I am looking around for these baby elephants that I've heard so much about. And a very happy birthday to your mom. I believe it's her birthday today. And that's Jennifer. Happy birthday, Jennifer. Hope you have a wonderful day. And it's for those of you who follow the show regularly, it is James's birthday tomorrow. So we'll all be sending him birthday wishes while he's on his leave. I'm sure he's enjoying it, relaxing, possibly drinking some of that apple juice he loves so much. It's a little giraffe. Remember I spoke about trying to get those silhouettes of these giraffes when the light is right. And if you were a photographer, you could actually get a lovely silhouette now. Off it goes. Oh, that giraffe looks like it's got a little bit of a limp. Actually, the back left leg seems a little bit stiff and walking with a bit of a limp. So that old giraffe could potentially fall prey to lions. So I thought I saw something move over there. No. Okay, so we've lost a bit more light now, so now it's ideal to try and find these little creatures of the night, little chameleons, maybe a little scorpion or two if we're lucky. There's some kudu crossing the road. Peggy's asked us an interesting question. She would like to know if there are any serval in the area. Peggy, there definitely are serval around here. I just have not seen serval, but or not in this area where we are now, not on Djuma, but just south of here, not too far. On another property, I've seen serval down there. So there are serval within the Sabi Sands and within the Kruger, within the Greater Kruger. It's just a case of trying to find them. Not always easy. Okay, come on. Let's see if I can find the first chameleon of the season. Or a honey badger. Remember I mentioned this morning, all I want to see again is a honey badger. Haven't seen one for quite a while, so that would be lovely. I'm scanning. Those of you who are wondering what's going on with Taylor, she's still just trying to get into the area where she heard those lions and buffalo and all that interaction, and potentially where the lions are trying to kill the buffalo. They're so opportunistic, those lions. I mean, even though they fed on one last night or yesterday, because the buffalo are around, they will still try and hunt them. Oh dear, no luck just yet, Brian. A lot of impala and that all out in the clearing. We're just driving around quarantine at the moment, and with it becoming a lot darker now, a lot of animals come out into these open areas for safety. We try and rely on the open areas to warn and alert each other if there is potential danger or a threat around. And that way, also being out in the open, they can see them coming a lot easier, and they can then move away. I'm looking very carefully with the spotlight because I'm looking for specific things. I'm looking for the chameleons, I'm looking for a scorpion if I can find one for you. Sorry, impala, don't want to shine on the impala. The lights are a little bit bright for them. It would also be lovely to see a little bush baby. I know last time I was here we did see, and I know I remember seeing a clip and Jamie had a lot of luck with some bush babies poking their heads out of a little hole a while ago. Come on. Oh, this is perfect light now. It's really getting fairly dark, so the spotlights will be working a lot better now in this light. I haven't seen any bats flying around yet. I'm looking for them though. I used to work with a tracker. We worked together for about 5 years, and I learned so much from him, especially with nocturnal wildlife and finding them, because he could spot incredibly well. His name is Judas, and Judas used to spot little chameleons, and when I say baby chameleons about that size, honestly I could not believe how he found them. He'd often spot snakes in trees, like the boomslang, which are quite nocturnal, active at night. He'd spot them around. So it was always great driving with him in the evenings, and He really taught me a lot on how to spot different nocturnal wildlife at night. It doesn't look like it, and I haven't found anything yet, but we are trying. So Sally has asked me a question, and Sally would like to know where and how do you become training to be a safari guide? Well, Sally, just about anybody can do it, and within South Africa, every country's got slightly different laws and assessments and exams that you need to pass to become a guide. Within South Africa, though, you can do it all correspondence and self-study. You can go, generally what they try and do is they recommend that you go on a course somewhere first, so you get some practical experience while you are studying. And those courses range from anywhere from about 6 months up to a year. There are some shorter 2 or 3 month courses that you can do. And once you've done that, you then write an exam, and once you pass the exam, you then have to be practically evaluated, and then after all of that, you're then legal to guide within South Africa. There are a few other odds and ends that you have to do, but generally that's how you do it, through a company known as the Field Guide Association of South Africa. And the FGAS, or Field Guide Association, is the company we register through to get our qualifications. But speaking about that, it sounds like Taylor has got to those lines, so get to her quickly. Oh, sorry, I think she's just repositioning her vehicle, it sounds like it. Hold on a second, and let her get into position before you cross over. I'm still trying to find the elusive chameleon. I think Taylor has managed to get her vehicle in position now. I think it's going to be all from myself and Brian this evening. Brian, thank you very much, and the thumb. And we will see you tomorrow morning on our morning safari. Thank you to everyone in Final Control. Go over, see what Taylor's got and what the lions are up to. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Isn't this incredible? Apparently the Nkuhumas very quickly got up and caught this buffalo. It is unbelievable. That's what I heard, distress calling in the distance, and apparently they killed this buffalo very quickly, which is unusual because we've seen how long it can take them. Perhaps it was an older buffalo that was quite weak and on its way out anyway. But this is fantastic. Now unfortunately we won't be able to stay here for too long because the sun is disappearing. It is getting very dark, and of course these cubs are very young still to be spotlighted when it gets completely dark. But luckily we are able to have a very quick look, and it's definitely something that we'll be able to follow up on in the morning. But I'm sure you are all jumping for joy that the Nkuhumas managed to get another buffalo, and they will have another day that they can feast on a beautiful piece of beef. Isn't this beautiful? Look at the little ones trying to tuck in, trying to rip through that skin, but again their teeth, everything is not strong enough just yet. We're just very quickly getting a spotlight. Mine doesn't seem to be working very well.
I will pick it up for you tomorrow.
Oh no, really, don't worry. So we're just going to have a look. It's okay. I'll use these other guys' spotlight. They can shine on for us. It's all right. Sure. Yeah, it's perfect. No problem. Thank you so much. We're just trying to organize another spotlight here. No, it's okay. Thank you so much. Have a lovely drive. We're going to get back to the action now. We're just going to wait for another vehicle to get in. And unfortunately, we don't have any infrared, and that's why we won't be able to stay with them for too long and spot on these cubs. But you can see them there. But we'll have one last little look. It's going to be a few months still until these little ones are able to have the full brunt of a spotlight. But we know that at least they're going to be here first thing in the morning. And I'm sure they're going to feast on this buffalo for a while. It looks like quite a big buffalo, perhaps a cow. It doesn't seem to be big enough to be a bull. And I hope that you are enjoying this. We're just going to get another vehicle come past us very quickly. Yeah, if you'd like to go past, you're more than welcome to. We're just going to let this other vehicle come through very quickly. They're just going to pass us to get into a better spot. They've obviously, it's a very tricky spot here. There's lots of fallen trees around, so we've got to be quite careful moving around at night. We'll have another look now. And you can see them moving around. Some of them having a rest, not quite ready to start eating just yet. Isn't this beautiful? Here we go. Look at all the dust that's settling from the cubs jumping around all the time. And practicing what their parents do by jumping. Even though this buffalo is dead, it's important that they practice these techniques. Look at that one's having a sleep on the back of the buffalo now. He's gone, I'm exhausted, right, I'm done for the day now, I'm just going to have a nap. Big yawn. And that would be a nice, soft, comfy spot to have a rest. Ooh, careful, you're going to roll off the top of that buffalo if you're not careful. All of the little ones trying to tuck in quite nicely. Look at how their eyes light up. What an amazing way to end the day. Me driving like a crazy person to get here just to show you a couple of minutes of the Nkuhumas on the buffalo. But like I said, we're going to come back here first thing tomorrow morning to come and have a look and see how full the Nkuhumas' bellies are. Now, unfortunately, that's almost the end for us. We are going to have to leave soon. Like I said, I'm not really wanting to shine a light too much more on these little cubs just because they're not quite long enough. But let's have one last look to get your Nkuhuma fix for the night. And it's been an absolute pleasure once again. But I'm going to leave you with these magnificent creatures as they start to devour this buffalo. And I hope you've enjoyed the show. And I look forward to tomorrow morning. Have a lovely evening wherever you may be. We'll see you for the sunrise drive.